Once upon a time, I was a fashion girl. In the fashion industry, in the beauty industry, I became certified to do makeup artistry when I was 13 years old. And from that point on, I just hit the ground running. I was so young. I was interning for different fashion designers in San Francisco. I was taking college classes when I was in high school at the Academy of Art, learning how to pattern make and sew and design. I was I started a small t-shirt line called Cut by Kama with a K, and it was sold at my dad's gift shop in Mexico, and that started, and then I ended up creating an online business through Facebook because I was like 14, and I would post a shirt and say, like, how do you want, I'm going to cut this up, like, who wants it, and I'll custom cut it for you. Or I'll even have people mail in shirts to me so I can cut them up for them, and I would mail them back for like $40 or something. And that was it for me. I really thought fashion was going to be my end all be all, and I had whole scrapbooks and collages all over my wall, and also in this binder I had with sleeves that were laminated, and I'd take different magazines and cut up inspiration, things that I wanted to try, and just fill it up, and then I would like refer to it in the morning or the night before school and be like, what's today or what's tomorrow, and then I'd lay that outfit out. I was getting so creative all the time. It never, like, not never, but most of the time it did not look good. But it wasn't even about that. It was truly just about experimenting and expressing myself. And I remember finding out what boho looked like and how cool that was. And I remember finding out like edgy. I really liked the edgy look, and I remember trying preppy and like schoolgirl and all these different things just to see how they felt on me. Pin up, oh my gosh, that was like a whole era. And then I go into the different eras, and it was so fun. And I found myself in that. And to this day, I think that it was so important that I went through this full trial and error expression period, because now I have such a good sense of what feels like me and what doesn't. And I'm not afraid to show up in whatever outfit I want to. I really broke through that at a young age, and I think that was my first sampling of like brave expression. And I know fashion is, it's still a huge piece of us, but it was kind of my intro into self-expression, because real self-expression is you and sharing and using your voice and your ideas and your creativity in the world and whatever. But fashion is a piece of that for sure. And I remember, because I'm in like middle school, wearing whatever I wanted when all the girls are wearing like Hollister and Abercrombie, and like we got our things and our little booty shorts and like all that stuff that was just the True Religion jeans. Oh my God, that was my time. The Ugg boots, whatever. And of course I loved that stuff too, but I was not afraid to break out of the mold and wear whatever I wanted. And I think that's actually really cool. Like, I was wearing high heels and I was wearing crazy stuff. I mean, things I was making at home. So that was pretty gnarly. But my favorite one was actually, I don't know if you remember this or if this was your era, but Nordstrom for a while had this holiday thing where if you ordered a gift with them, they'd mail it to you or the person you send it to in a big kind of gray silvery sack that cinched at the top. And I remember somebody mailed my family like a Nordstrom gift for Christmas, and it was this sack that was like the size of my body, and I was like, oh my God, perfect, because I wanted a bubble dress so bad. If you guys remember the bubble dresses, it like flared out like around the hips so that it like cinched around your legs, like a bubble. And I wanted one so bad, and my mom was like, she was so frugal, and I have so many stories about her, like me trying to get something and her being like no. Or one time my dad let me buy a pair of Louboutins, or he bought them for me in New York City, and my mom made me walk them back to the store and to return them because she's like, you're literally like 15 years old, you're not wearing a pair of Louboutins. You can buy them yourself. And I think those were also such good lessons. I think my parents were a good balance for each other because of that. Like my dad was like, yeah, whatever. And my mom was like, fuck no. No, no, no. You have a hole in your sock, we're sewing it. Like, you're not getting new socks. So it was actually like, it was good. It was good for me in the end. It also made me much more creative. So yeah, here I am making my bubble dress out of it's literally like a piece of paper, basically. It was that cross between paper and fabric. I think there's a name for it, but it rips if you just like tear it hard enough. And so I put this thing on, I ripped a hole in the legs, and every time I'd walk, it would like rip a little more. Like, believe me, it didn't look good, but I thought it looked good. And I was maybe 11 or 12, and I remember going to school, and my mom was like, oh, to her dismay. And I had like a play date after school with my friend, and I just remember going to her house and her mom kind of being like, so you made that? And I was like, no, could you tell? I mean, I don't... You don't think this is designer? So it was cool. I found myself a lot in that process. And I bring this up because, yeah, I was so committed. I really thought that was my end all be all. And part of it was because I got a lot of praise for it in my family for being so creative and expressive. And I was at a young age like that around fashion and beauty. And of course you want approval, and so that was a huge part of it. But I did have so much fun, and I did love the fact that you could use fashion as a way to share, especially because I was ironically such a shy kid, and I felt like fashion just said so much without me having to even say anything. And I love that. I love also, it was so cool. I had like a 30-year-old woman tell me when I was maybe in high school, you inspire me so much, the way you show up in whatever you want to wear, and you're not afraid to come as you are. I want to be like that. And you're inspiring me. Like, I want to wear the heels. I want to wear this, and I want to do this. And she started doing that. And she never changed. She just started to wear whatever she wanted because of me. And I remember thinking, that's so cool that I was able to inspire someone to express themselves the way they've always wanted to. So anyway, I went on to study fashion design, and I got a degree in that. And yeah, so fully went to school for it, so on and so forth. But I was finding almost right away, like, this is not the industry I want to be in. And it's because of a lot of the traditional ways the industry is run and how things are, and just the lack of consciousness around things, at least at that time, which is 2014. And that was really disheartening, alongside the fact that I think that ultimately I really found that I was in the wrong industry. I was in the industry for good reasons, but reasons that were deeper to me. So I'm not having fun pattern making and sewing. I really actually fucking hated it, to be honest. I was like, ooh, like I would rather kill myself than to draw another like freaking pattern, than be sitting here like crying over how to pin this thing together. Like, I don't know. It just felt like so not me. And I ultimately wanted to just design, but I knew that it was such a long road to just be a designer. And I also read this book, like Fashion Design for Dummies, that's like, you're really only designing like 10% of the time. The rest of it is the pattern making. It is the sample. It is the running back and forth. It is the product development. It is like yes and no. It is finding the factories. It is having things fall through. It is grinding and calling people on the phone and blood, sweat, and tears and all this drama over literally a pair of jeans. And again, I love the expression of fashion. I'm so grateful for the people who are doing that, but it was just not for me. I'm thinking like, damn, there are people that are like starving, and there are so many issues in the world, and there are people yelling at each other over a pair of jeans. It was so hard for me to, like, the stakes just felt so high for something that just didn't feel so urgent or essential. I mean, like, the truth is I love self-expression through fashion. I really do love fashion. I think it's so much fun. And like I'm a nudist by nature. Like I could roll around naked in the jungle. It is not an essential thing for me. It's just really fun. So so yeah, I mean, clothes are essential. We have to, because of the way society is. But I'm also like, bring it back. Like, let's be naked, whatever. So it like ultimately things were not aligning. And I also was feeling really discouraged about, again, the industry, women's body issues, pollution, so on and so forth. I wanted to be the ethical change, and it's possible and it's happening more and more now. But then I wasn't seeing it so clearly, and I just wasn't as passionate about all those details and steps for the reasons that I just shared. So I took a hiatus. I went to Maui, back to my family home, and I just started foraging and I started skincare. And I did it for me. I was just starting to really heal my body and connect with my senses. I was going to farmers markets and I was journaling and I was meditating and I was going on hikes, and I had felt so unhealthy when I was working in fashion, and the industry was kind of like that. It was like, oh, you don't have a life. You're grinding blood, sweat, and tears. It's just so, there's always something you have to keep up on. You always feel like you have to be in the know. It was like no breaks, no rest encouraged. And yeah, so I rested. I rested and I felt my nervous system recalibrate. I felt my body restore. I felt like this cortisol and stress weight drop. I felt my circadian rhythm regulate here on the islands, where I was like waking with the sun and sleeping with the sun going down, and just being connected to nature again. Which fashion, a lot of the time, the industry is pretty far from that source. So again, I do believe you can do it differently, but I was just not in that world, and it felt so disconnecting. So I ended up taking a pivot. I finished my degree, but then I went to business school and got my bachelor's in business management, and I minored in beauty industry management because I wanted to understand more about beauty, because I was finding myself just like in the jungle creating potions and things for skin and hair and body, and just nourishing my temple, as I say. And so I launched my skincare line, Mucama Botanica, because I'd healed so much of my superficial scarring on my skin, picking from the fashion industry, being so stressed out, and like, you know, years of like body dysmorphia, which were only exacerbated by fashion industry things. And oh my gosh. And so, yeah, through guava seed and guava oil and the guava itself, I found that I was able to brighten my skin and lighten those scars. So I got so inspired, and I just started creating from there and following the polls, following what felt good. And I felt always that it wasn't my end all be all, but I needed to take this step. So I launched that business. I created my first real LLC, and it was amazing. It graced the pages of British Vogue and all different kinds of amazing sources and websites and Forbes. And yeah, just I was so young too, just stumbling through this world. And as I was in it, I found pretty quickly, oh, this isn't about beauty. This isn't the beauty industry that I love. It's wellness. It's the idea that somebody could reconnect with themselves the way that I did through this process and through my own skincare, and they could heal themselves from the outside in. And I also found, oh, this is kind of similar to actually what I was doing with fashion. Okay, there's this like healing from the outside in. It's like, can I adorn myself and express myself in these ways that feels like it enhances my confidence and all of these other things from, again, the outside in. But as I was going deeper and deeper and deeper, and I started my own spiritual kind of meditation, wellness practice, and all these things that just kind of organically started happening because of the connections I was making through my skincare line. I was doing a lot of pop-ups with yoga studios and wellness places, and those were the people that wanted the all organic natural product, right? So I'm getting really inspired, which was also a huge part of my roots and upbringing, and I always had a deep spiritual belief system around. My family was like that, and we were all pretty into like nature and cosmic shit. So it was a homecoming to myself in so many ways. And I started to realize I wanted to do this from the inside out too. So I did my own self work and I went on my own journey. I graduated college a year early with honors. And so I convinced my parents, like, please don't punish me for graduating a year early. Like, like, can you just help me with one more year? And I was lucky they helped me through college. So I said, like, can you just help me with one more year, the year that I would have been in school? And I just want to get some certifications. Like, I just want to do, I don't know, I just want to self-study. And so I was really lucky to have their support to do that. And I ended up getting my studying ancient Hawaiian healing here on Maui. And then I ended up getting my yoga teacher training and my meditation teacher training and my Reiki master training, and all of it I did for me. Like, I wasn't doing it to teach for anyone. And then all of my teachers kept saying, teach, you need to teach. I feel like you really need to teach. And I was like, no, I don't want to teach. I don't like, no. Like, I was just not there for it until finally, I don't know, something cracked and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And so I put on Instagram with a small decent following. I don't know, maybe like a couple thousand followers, like 3,000 followers or something. I posted on Instagram and I said, hey, I have all these certifications now. I did them for me, but I'll teach you how to meditate. $20 for 30 minutes. DM me if you're interested. We'll do like a Skype or a Zoom call. And I guess this must have been in 2018, something like that. And I just got an inflow of messages, people saying, yeah, like, I want to do it. Let's do it. That's so cheap. Like, well, of course, like, why not? To this very day, and that was almost 10 years ago, I still have many of ththose clients. If not in my one-on-one coaching that I still coach weekly or every other week, I coach in my membership program. Literally, all of my OGs are in my membership program to this day. And most of them are people I didn't even know in real life, or like a friend of a friend or something like that. And I think that's so special and beautiful. And I found immediately within my first coaching session, I was like, wow. And it was just really meditation, but I was like, wow, I love this. I love the feeling of bringing someone home to themselves, of connecting them deeply to themselves. And at first it was more just meditation focused and energy work. And then it became broader and more, not life coaching, but I still would call it holistic wellness. But now I say it's about connecting with yourself after years of feeling disconnected and really understanding what it feels like to come home to you. And the bravery it takes to do that, to sit with yourself, to be with yourself, to listen to yourself, to honor yourself. And then from that point, live the most lit and luscious life of all fucking time, brother. It is so amazing. And that's all the stuff that I wanted: to feel authentically joyful, to be confident, to be radiant, to be magnetic, all through my clothes, all through my fashion, all through my beauty, like, products, whatever. Like, that's all that I really wanted. And that's why it's they always say, like, the fashion and beauty industries are billion trillion dollar industries, because we all want that. But I found the real way to do it was from the inside out, to truly connect with myself and be with myself in order to have those experiences that won't go away when you take the mascara off, that won't go away when you slip out of that bubble dress, that won't go away at the end of the day. They're gonna stay. You're gonna wake up like that. And I never believed that would be true. Trust me, after years of body dysmorphia and contorting myself to try to fit into others and wanting approval and love and belonging so bad that I would throw everything, my needs, my personality, everything out the window, like, to have that sustained sense of self now, praise. I feel so much better. It feels so good. And that was the way I did it. So that is what I show people. And yeah, so the journey was really, it was natural in some ways, the way that it shifted, and it really was self-led. I wasn't doing for it for anyone else. Even the certifications, as I said, I did them completely for me, not wanting to teach. I was like, oh, teach. I hated school. Like, I was like, no way. I was not a schoolgirl. That's why I graduated It's so funny. I graduated early because I hated school so much. Like, when people hear that, they're like, oh, you must have been a great student. You must have, like, loved school. No, I literally hated school. But I wanted to get out that bad. Like, I went through the summers. I was in a quarter system and I didn't take any off. I just went hard, so hard. And I told you I hated school so much that I did independent study my senior year and was taking college courses in high school, just packing on my schedule so that I could get finished sooner. Like, all I wanted was to be done with school, like, so bad. Ugh, school. And honestly, I'm like still such a rebel about school. I'm like, fuck school. Like, I didn't get shit from school. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna like really discourage the youth, and I feel really bad about that. Like, school has lessons, but it's more about like who you are. And I do think that sometimes in the confines of certain things you learn a lot. Like, you gotta have that, and you gotta have some experience like that. But I really believe everything I've learned was through the stumble. And I tell that to people now who are like, oh, I don't have a degree, or I don't have this, or I need this. And I'm like, you're going to learn so much more through the stumble than anything else. If you're starting a business, yeah, sure, like, do some research. And there's also so much shit on the internet too. Like, watch some YouTube videos, use ChatGPT, like, find a mentor in real life. And your mentor is just going to feel your passion and want to help. Like, your passion is huge. So yeah, I'm really getting on my school shit right now. Sorry. Stay in school, kids. You don't believe me at all because I don't mean it. Do what you love. Sorry. Oof. And like, I do think the system is changing, and I'm actually so grateful for that, for things like AI in the way that it's changing the system. Like, I think we're all feeling like, bro, I kind of got scammed. And yeah, some people may have found, like, again, it's the people you meet, it's the experiences you have, it's what you learn about yourself. Maybe it's the confidence you have. And I know the world looks at, okay, you completed this amount of years in school, so we're going to give you this thing. So I understand that that's how the system has worked, although I do feel that that's crumbling. Mark my words. I do feel like that's crumbling, and more people just want your passion, your drive, and your ingenuity, like your ability to figure shit out. That's so much more valuable than your education, where you sat there in class just like a little good girl and was like, okay, I'm going to read my books. Okay, you told me to do that. I'm going to do that. Okay, what's next? Okay, like, fuck that. Like, what does that teach you? Ugh. I feel like nauseous. I feel like I'm going to cry. Wow, I really had no idea how passionate I was about this, but I'm really passionate about that. Literally get in the fucking field. Do an internship. Be an intern at 50 years old. Honest to God. Be an intern. Learn something. Go do an e-course if you really like. I mean, fine, go to school if you really want. Some people love school, so I'm really sorry. I do know a lot of people who really, really loved school and had something to gain from it. But if you're like me, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay, there's my rant on that today. That is how I transitioned from fashion into the world of wellness and spirituality and whatever, and really the world of authenticity, the world of coming home to yourself, of being me. And that was my journey in homecoming, and that is now what I show people how to do. So anyway, if you want more support on that, I have a whole membership program called the Lush Life Community, and it's so incredible. It's all of the things that I do, my tapping, my meditations, my even healthy, amazing recipes, because for me, reclaiming that like healthy food is good and nourishing for my body, and enjoying food again and not in a way that was bingy and restricty was huge. So I put my favorite recipes on there. I also have tons of kind of videos like this, that things that maybe I might not share as publicly, like in there, where I'm having more candid, honest conversations. And then workshops, which I do twice a month. And they're live. And so you can come to the class and we can workshop things that you're dealing with in your life in order to help you become your most self-connected, luscious, alive, magnetic version of self. It's such a great community and way to connect and stay accountable and continue working on you alongside living your life, which is the most important thing you can do, is live your life for you. But I have the journaling prompts and the self-connection exercises and all of the past workshops, so you can start that process a little more intently if that is something that you need to do, which I understand, because accountability is awesome and having some framework to work with and then go out in the world. But by the way, you're not being graded. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be a perfectly good girl. Whatever meditation works for you, you can do at any time. And yeah. Anyways, that's, again, the rebel is alive and well in me. Love you guys. I hope you have the most beautiful day. If you don't know about my upcoming retreat happening in January on Maui, you should probably check that out. We have 2 more rooms available, and it's for you if you feel the pull. Okay. All the links below. All my love. Bye.